March 14th. I don't even know how that happened.
Jeez.
So we'll let everybody come in, but we generally open these with just a few minutes of just chatter. So how's everybody doing?
Good. Happy Pi Day. I guess I'm the only math enthusiast in this group.
I didn't make that.
You're the only one who's Friday.
No Pi Day. No Pi Day. 3/14.
Oh, okay.
I would be much happier.
Oh, all right.
But Pi Day.
Let's quickly introduce ourselves, everybody. I'm Rick McCutcheon. I'm a business applications MVP, and I help organize this group. And then I will turn it over to you, Malcolm. You can go next.
I am Malcolm McCauley, so I alongside Rick and Diane, who I don't think Diane's able to make it. She's going to try and join a little later, but amongst a number of other people who kind of contribute ideas, help kind of coordinate this group together. So looking forward to hearing from everybody, and in particular, and I'm sorry, we've chatted about this, but I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Meenakshi.
Say that. Sorry again.
Meenakshi.
Meenakshi. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Thank you. I apologize for that. So looking forward to our topic and chat, but normally we open with a few minutes of kind of banter and introductions and hear how everybody's doing. So Rick, I don't know if you want to lead the charge on that.
Yeah. Okay, Todd, over to you.
Oh, my name is Todd Mercer. I'm a Power Platform technical specialist. So I've been part of the group for a long time. It's been a while since I've been got to rejoin, so I'm just happy to sit back in for as long as I can.
Okay, perfect. Gail, I'm just hitting the people I know, then it'll get harder for me. So Gail.
Thanks, Rick. Hi, everyone. Gail Bullen. I'm with ClickLearn. I'm the business relationship manager there, and we provide documentation and training tools. So if your end users trying to struggle with learning how to use your applications, we have a tool that can certainly make that automated and easy for them. It's an amazing system, so happy to be here.
All right, Gail, thank you. Nico. Maybe caught him by surprise.
Yeah, I was just doing. Yeah, name is Nico Tarla.
I can't hear you, Nico. You must be under the table or something.
How about now?
Perfect.
That's better.
Okay, microphone was up. Okay, so name is Nico, principal consultant at One Consult, doing solution and enterprise architecture.
Okay, perfect. We'll start at the top here. Anand Kunar. Just who you are, what you do, where you're from, but first you got to jump off mute. All right.
Yeah. Hey everyone. My name is Anand. I work as a senior consultant at ThinkMax. I'm here to learn about CRM new updates and also open for networking. Thank you.
Okay, nice to meet you. We'll go to the next ThinkMax guy, Richard.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Richard Dennis. I lead the Dynamics 365 CE service line at ThinkMax. Happy to be here today. One of my guys, Anand, is here. And before I just quickly close up the intro, is anyone here going to the Vancouver Power Plat Summit this coming weekend?
And
well, there'll be two of you.
I know Anand is. Obviously, a lot of the MVPs are going to be wrapping up this week and flying up from Seattle into Vancouver, so it should be an interesting event. I would love to connect with anyone that's going.
Yeah, XRM has a number of people there, and Eric Savant is one of the guys participating and organizing the process, and we're also a corporate sponsor for the event, so looking forward to it.
Okay,
good to know. Thank you.
So on that note, Rick, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Sure. My name is Rick Bojara. I'm the director of hyperautomation at XRM Vision. As mentioned, we're participating in the Dynamics event in Vancouver this weekend. And we are a Dynamics Gold partner with Microsoft and assist in implementation and customization and anything Power Platform.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to McCann Astley.
Hi everyone, I'm Makan Asli with Colliers doing business success here. So I support pretty much everything on CRM for our own users.
Thank you, McCann. Brianna Hughes.
Hi, I'm Brianna. I work with Diane and Kirk at Synergy Credit Union in the implementation and adoption team. And Diane shared the link with Kirk and I this week, and we're super excited to be here and listen in on the presentation.
Okay, excellent. And we'll go to Kirk.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Kirk Hopko. Like Bree mentioned, we work in the implementation and adoption team with Diane at Synergy Credit Union. We focus a lot on identifying how processes and tools can be improved and changed and innovated at our credit union. And CRM Dynamics is one of the tools that we use to track that. So I'm excited about that. But I'm also really excited for Meenakshi's presentation because I'm also the chair of the Saskatchewan Young Leaders, a credit union nonprofit designed to find and work and develop emerging leaders all throughout Saskatchewan credit unions. So I'm here for two reasons.
What's a young leader?
A young leader is an arbitrary line that they drew when they formed the committee 15 years ago that it's leaders under the age of 40. We understand that there is a little bit.
I was gonna say it's not defined by age. You just ruined the whole thing.
So what you're telling me is the people who founded this, if they're now over 40, they get kicked out automatically?
Unfortunately, according to their original bylaws, they would be.
Right.
But that is something that we are actually working on understanding and developing and changing. Throughout Canada credit unions, there are a lot of young leader groups, and a lot of them are transitioning to emerging leaders because, you know, as we grow in understanding, leadership doesn't start at a certain age or become locked in like, oh, at 40 you can't emerge anymore. Like, so it's a little bit of an outdated principle, but we're always working on learning new things, and I hope to get some evidence from Meenakshi's presentation to champion that in Saskatchewan.
And I know Malcolm and I, the only way we became leaders is we had to start a user group. So, you know, this is great that we're getting to hear from you folks and helping us. So Malcolm, over to you, and you can get the meeting started.
Yeah, I was all smiles when you asked that question because I was like, you're asking about yourself. And then he said under 40, and I went, that means me neither. So damn. So yeah, so looking forward to a session, the session today. Do we have? I don't think we have a rep from DynamicsCon on, so we don't. So I'll speak to that briefly. You can see that I assume you're seeing my screen, and it's kind of the rotating banner. So this is, as you know, we get together. We try to do monthly for the most part for the year, usually about 10 times a year. We try and skip the summer. And so we cover a variety of topics. I think everybody who's here has probably been to one of these before. This one's a little bit different. Normally, we're pretty technology focused. We're looking at specific features, functions, tools, plugins, ISVs, and so on. But when we were brainstorming topics, one of the things that caught my eye was this concept of emerging leaders, to use the term, and it's such an important part of every organization. And we hear a lot about succession planning and organizations that don't have a lot of succession planning, and emerging leaders are a great place to start to look for, hey, what are we going to do when we win the lottery and move on, or decide that it's time to wrap things up, and or just in general just move on. We need to have people in the queue and on tap to take on those roles. So I thought it would be a fitting pivot for this, because regardless of your organization's focus, it's leadership, emerging leaders, cultivating leadership in your staff, regardless of age, is an important component. So we thought we would throw this in and give it a go. So I'll speak briefly to Doug for a second. So Dynamics user groups are our sponsors in a sense. They give us the ability to join the meetups and all that great stuff. They also, as you probably know, there's a presentation. Thank you for whomever's sharing that. They have a number of events. So DynamicsCon Live is the big one that's coming up. If you're not already registered, I would encourage you to look into it. I believe we have a discount code. I know the price is about to jump up, I think on the 18th, if I recall correctly. So if you haven't registered yet, do so soon over the course of the weekend because the price is going to go up. Looks like a stellar agenda. I know that they're also forecasting a substantial increase in participation this year, which is really exciting. So I know a number of people are going to be there that I'm familiar with. I'm looking forward to being there myself as a first-time attendee to DynamicsCon. Certainly been to other ones, but this is the first time for that one. So looking forward to that. And if you've never been to Denver, it is a spectacular city. Any city that has over 300 days of sun a year, that's top notch in my book. So looking forward to getting out there. And they also run, you can see Rick kind of plowing through some of the slides. There's a number of different things that Doug offers. I'd encourage you to go visit their website. They've got all kinds of, there's a discussion forums. They use groups like this, but all over the world. They have different groups. So in this virtual age, you can kind of tune into a user group meeting from wherever you are to any other location, which is awesome. They also do some in-person stuff,
I just put the DynamicsCon Live link in the chat. If you need a discount code, reach out to me and I'll get that code for you.
Yeah, good call. Good call. So I know I'm rifling through a lot of stuff because usually Liz does it much better justice than I do, but that's kind of the gist of Doug and the Dynamics User Groups team. If you're interested in more, they do have a great website, kind of points you in all the directions. So on that note, why don't we pivot then to Meenakshi and today's presentation, kind of an overview and session. I don't know if you can take screen share control there. You should be able to do so, and then share your screen. We'll hand it over to you to talk through today's, and then we're going to pivot into a discussion. So shorter session today, but then we're going to chat a little bit just about this concept of leadership and leaders, and I've got some questions and things too. So over to you.
Okay, let me know when you can see my screen.
We see you right now. There it is.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we're going to be talking about leadership in modern era, and it's about embracing young leaders. It's about navigating changes and embracing innovation. So I'm not limiting it to just the age factor of the young leaders, but also the innovation factor of what they bring to the table. Okay, so a little bit about myself. My name is Meenakshi Singh. I am the Senior Director of Enterprise Applications and a Microsoft Certified Professional. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I have been involved in, sorry, let me get this out. I have been involved in summit planning since 2013. That was the first year I joined an end user. And from there, I have not looked back. I am on the BC Business Central side. So that's where my roots are. I've been working in Dynamics Nav environment for last 20 plus years now. I am a BC NAVG All-Star. I am on the board. Actually, I just finished it in 2024 of my 2-year tenure with them. I am on the Summit Planning Committee and Programming Planning Committee. Speaking of Summit, we do have the call for speakers out. So if you have any session ideas and it across the board, it doesn't have to be BC related. It could be leadership related, CRM related. Whatever idea you have for a session, please feel free to submit it, and one of the Summit Planning Committee will take it over and try to put that session on the agenda for you. Okay, talking about leadership. So when we speak of leadership, and I do want to make it an interactive session. So if you have comments in there, I cannot see if you raise your hand, but feel free to interrupt and stop and insert yourself in there with your comments and any ideas you have. So with leadership, traditionally, we've thought of leadership as it comes with experience. It's, like a tour guide who drives us somewhere. Hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing. I learned it from my experience, or, it always works this way, which is great because it does come from experience, and it's definitely a critical part of that leadership role. But that, to me, is more synonym with management. You said something, we have to do it, or we just follow the lead from that manager. What we are seeing today is it's changing. The way it's changing is It's more empowerment, it's more collaboration, it's more value creation, and not just for your key stakeholders, but for your team members also. A leader doesn't have to be your manager. It could be a peer you've been working with, and a cross-functional team member is like, oh my God, this person has such great ideas, or he knows about this technology, let's follow them. So it's anybody who's motivated to do something new or find a better way of doing things. So that's the status quo that we are challenging. It's still experience, it's still, learning from your mistakes, but it's the way you promote it with everybody else on your team. How do you empower them? How do you collaborate across functional teams? How do you create value for yourself in that organization? So how is the leadership changing? It's evolving from command and controlling leadership to collaborative leadership. I just talked about it. So it's going under a transformation and not just following the orders. It's more about, what about this idea? Present that new challenge to your manager, to your team member, how we can make it better, and then achieve those shared goals with, collaborative teamwork. The second part of it is emotional intelligence. So today's leaders, we expect our leaders to be more authentic. Emotional intelligence, it has taken front seat in, I want to say, like last 5-10 years, but before that, it was not considered. People were not looking for compassion or empathy in their leaders. We are today. Today's generation is looking for not just helping them drive it, but also be that compassionate leader, not for ourselves, but for others also. And then servant leadership, we see it a lot, we hear about it a lot. What is it? Again, not commanding, more collaborative. You empower others, and those are the leaders who will empower not only their teams, but the whole organization once you get there. The adaptive leadership. So this is where the young part of the leadership comes into place. They are so much into technology today. So instead of following the fixed plans or strategies, this is how we've been doing it. This is how it's done. They adapt to the changing circumstances. I was doing a project for BC implementation, and all of a sudden, new version came out. I talked with my boss, hey, this works, but if we wait 2 more months, there is something better that's coming out, and we are going to be okay waiting next 2 months. So the leaders listen to you. The reasoning is there, and they adapt to those changing dynamics. So that's what you expect from your leaders today. The expansion of inclusive leadership, and this is where I'm not just talking about diversity in race, but diversity in ideas and viewpoints. We put too much emphasis on inclusion means different race. No, it's also different ideas. It could be person like Kirk had brought up 40+ person, or it could be a 20+ person, right? A new graduate who is fresh of ideas, and maybe he thought of something that we didn't think of. So let's give him a platform to present his ideas. And then digital leadership, and some of you might relate to it. It was always with the IT department. I myself am in IT, and I still thought, I'm like, why do my business leader on the sales side not really understanding what I'm saying? Why do we need to make a footprint on the social media for them? So that's where business leaders today, they are taking charge on the digital presence. They know the marketing drives the business. So they are staying more informed and more data-driven decisions. So that's where these young leaders can come and provide us that skill to drive that digital leadership for our business leaders. So all of these, I just listed out 6 points where leadership is changing and how it's changing, but that also doesn't mean that all of these points will apply to your organization. It changes per how your organization is evolving. Is it based on the context, culture, and what's the need of your organization? It could be, 3 people organization, then really doesn't matter because all of you are leaders in there. But if it's 1,000 people, you need to rise above that and bring that servant leadership and powering others and creating leaders, sub-leaders that can help you drive that common goal and, serve the purpose of making it successful for everybody. Does that make sense? Any questions, comments on that? Okay, moving on. So what are the qualities of these young leaders that we want to embrace? They are the champions of adaptability and innovation. They excel in environments that challenge them. So the more you give them things to do, they take on that challenge. They seek feedback and then intentionally put themselves out in situations which will force them to learn, adapt, and grow. We are seeing that with AI. Even my team members are coming to me. Can I just download this? I want to play with it. I want to learn about it. So that adaptability and innovation, these guys are more prone to, championing that rather than somebody who's been in business or doing the leadership and being a manager for, last 45 years. Tech savviness, this one is, we all understand this and it's a given. Today's generation is right there with the technology. People are born with cell phones in their hands, so they definitely are 20 steps ahead of us and understand the technology's impact. So that's another quality that the young leaders are bringing to the table today. Not that the existing leaders don't have it, but sometimes the young leaders are, like I said, they're born with the cell phones in their hands. They understand the concepts much better, and they are really good at playing with that technology to make it more efficient and unlock new opportunities for us and as a business also. Then hitting the point on inclusivity and collaboration, they do understand the importance of others' perspective. They listen to them, they adapt to them, they show empathy and build strong connection and brings different point views in there. It cannot be just Microsoft leading the charge. It cannot be just Google leading the charge. We gotta see where all the ideas are coming from, and let's see if we can provide a common platform. What works for our organization? What works for our team? How can we be successful, not just with one system, but with multiple systems on the line and, integrating them with each other? Then their entrepreneurial mindset. Today's team members, they don't just want to follow something that's been set. They want to pave their own path. They want to see an opportunity, jump on it, whether it be to lead the charge or lead a project or, coming up with new ideas. So we should definitely embrace that and bring that to not just for that one person, but bring that to the whole team and whoever comes up with the ideas. It set that stage for them. It gives them that mindset of, yes, I'm valuable. Yes, I can present my ideas. Yes, there are other people who support me or who actually would question me on it and challenge what I'm thinking. And that's how you build more relationship and, get better ideas out of 10 proposed ideas. So coming back to my point of, it's not age dependent. There are some points where young leaders are more adaptive to the technology, collaboration, but it's also the attributes that we can combine. And even, 40-plus-year-olds can bring that challenging mindset to it and bring them up to speed on what's happening in the market today and bring that unique perspective. It could be just traditional way of doing things. Yes, I have done it, and this is what I've learned. How many of us, in IT start any support call? Are you plugged in? Or can you just shut down and restart? That's just very common. And I mean, it's funny, but sometimes that works. People still hit themselves in the face. I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot to do that. So how can we unlock this transformative potential for these young leaders? How can we embrace them? We can give them the platform, diversity of thought. We can give them the succession planning. So the more we embrace these young leaders, why we should be embracing them, we are preparing ourselves for that succession planning. We need leaders. So tomorrow, like, I don't know if it was Rick or who said it, if tomorrow somebody wins a lottery and they leave, do we have a backup plan? This was not something that somebody thought of, in last 10 years, but since then it has been coming up. The more companies that I have worked with, they come up with, we need to do succession planning, 3-year planning, 5-year planning. So companies are looking into that. And then, like I said, it's inspiring the next generation. You promote one person, the other person sees it. It's like, yes, I can do it. It develops that can do it and challenging environment within your organization. And then, of course, it gives you a competitive advantage. The more young and challenging leaders you are bringing to your company, the more you're staying ahead in embracing the innovation and promoting this young challenge. People see it, and the more team members see it, they watch each other. You're fostering that environment. You're giving them that environment of growth. You're giving that environment of collaboration to drive efficiency. So it's not just benefiting one person, it's benefiting the whole team, and eventually the whole organization has that environment of working with the collaboration, teamwork, and providing commitment to the new leadership, that next generation of leadership. So, so that was more about, why we should embrace the leadership, what they do today, and how it's going to be beneficial for your organization. But these young leaders do face challenges as they come up in the organization. What kind of challenges are they facing today? They face the perception and stereotypes. As I started this presentation, I said, traditionally is thought of experience. So obviously, first question in our mind is he or she doesn't have the experience. They've never done it, or they're, so green into it. The only last 6 months they have picked it up. So those challenges are faced. What can they do is they can provide effective communication. They can, brush up their learnings. They can get certifications and set the stage for them. Like, I am gaining that experience. I am learning as I'm growing with this organization. And the other challenge that people face is navigating hierarchies. So we still have some organizations where the stage is set. This person is the manager, this person is the VP, this person is going to be leading the team. So sometimes it takes time to navigate through those hierarchies. How you can do that? Effective communication. There is never enough communication. Talk to them, talk to your key stakeholders, talk to your manager, talk to your CEO, talk to your VP, whoever you need to. Keep them in the loop. Effective communication is one very underestimated tool and much, much needed in today's leadership environment and collaborative environment. So make sure you keep them in the loop. The more they see you bringing the value to the table, the more they see you as a leader, the more they see you as somebody who can not only support the team, but can also drive the team to success. Then building credibility. Again, communication, certifications, it takes time. Don't think that the minute you walk through the door of an organization and you're going to have credibility with the CEO. It takes time, but do prove yourself with the projects. Experience, definitely. Like I said, it is required. So once you build that credibility, you won half the battle, and from there you are driving that communication and the commitment to personal, not only personal, but organizational success and defeating all the challenges. So these are the 3 challenges that I have seen either through my organizations or working with other young leaders that aspire to be leaders at some point in their career. But if there are more, I'm happy to listen to more and add those to these categories so that we can help these young leaders to not only embrace the collaboration and progress, but also to grow professionally. That, in conclusion, I think it's time that every organization needs to acknowledge and nurture these young leaders. They are crucial to our succession planning. They are crucial to our organization's success. They are crucial to our teamwork and growing teams. By empowering and supporting these emerging leaders, we can definitely tap into this new whole slew of energy and passion and creativity that they bring with them. So I would just like to say, be the leader that you were looking for when you were a junior. Be the leader for your team that you thought my leader should have been for me. That's the best way to look at it, with more empathy, more compassion, and definitely with more empowering of the other users. So it's not something that is lost with the age. It's still there as long as you keep up with the changing dynamics, but it's more seen more with the tech savviness and keeping up with the changing dynamics, changing environments, and diversity today with the young leaders. So definitely we need to be embracing it and providing a safe space for them to make mistakes, to learn from each other, and then help the organizations not for a short-term leadership, but a long-term sustainability with the succession planning. So that's pretty much it. I did write an article a couple of months back, so feel free to take a look at it in the Dynamics community's website. And if you have any questions, I am here. Thank you.
That's awesome. That's a good overview. In my opinion, you covered a lot of really good points. At this point, we were going to pivot kind of into a conversation or discussion just around it. And I can start the ball rolling on that because there was one slide you had up that talked about adaptability and innovation. Or was it innovation? I think that was what it was. I started to write it down at the tail end there. And that in this space in particular, I think is so critical, right? That we're in because we're forced to adapt and learn the new technologies. And it doesn't take long to be stuck in the old days. I mean, that's true of technology, but especially in the realm of Power Platform and all the things that we see and the innovation, and especially if you start getting into AI, it's mind-boggling how fast things are evolving. So that one jumped out at me, right? Just that how do we make sure people have the resources and tools and time to keep up to speed with all of these changes? Because if that's a part of being a leader, you can't just expect people to do it. I mean, there's such a focus on work-life balance now, and people, and I'm one of them. I have pretty tight boundaries when it comes to I'm on my home time, right? Not my work time right now. I'm not going to spend my Saturday morning watching a ton of videos. Some people will, and that's totally fine. That's not how I want to spend my personal time. To each their own. So how do we create the space during the work week or in and around the work week to do that so that we can keep up to speed? So that was one that jumped out at me. I don't know if others have any comments or.
Yeah, on that one, I would say the one thing that we have started, and I did start it as more like a monthly learning. So it was more to train everybody on the same software. Okay, this is how you can use it better. This is what my organization is using. So if it's BC, this is how you can keep learning on it. This is what you can do better, or new releases coming up, and keep them up to speed on changing technology. But this can also be a question answer session. What's new coming? What's your interest level? Where do you want to go from here? So give them that platform of expressing themselves, and then also give them that environment of, if you make a mistake, okay, I want to try this, instead of this technology, I want to try this technology. I want to do a text to video conversation with the AI. So give them that platform, give them the room to make mistakes, make them learn from their mistakes, and then that's where they should be feeling comfortable. That's one of the things that my boss always said. What's the worst that can happen? We have to redo it. Let's take it. Not everybody does it, and I'm not saying you fail a full implementation. No, don't do that, please. But when you're learning something, try it at a smaller scale. Try again. Train again.
I like it. Kirk has his hand up.
I also just wanted to add to the context of sort of the technology adaptability that I think it's very easy for us to make like broad assessments of older generations are less adaptable or younger generations are more adaptable. But I genuinely think that that's probably doing a disservice to the people that we're trying to lead and develop. I work with a lot of people across a lot of different generations, and you'd be surprised the certain things that you take for granted. In young people now, because so much computing they do is on their phones, you'll find that little things such as navigating to the desktop, open a folder, create a directory, things like that are not things that they actually use, despite the fact that they're holding an extremely powerful computer in their hand all day, every day. There's aspects of technology that are intuitive and others that aren't, and that we have different personality types that if you put something new in front of someone and say, this is a new tool, some people are going to say, cool, can I go in? Can I touch things? Can I break things? Other people, they just need it presented a different way. And I don't think it's strictly based upon age. I think there's probably generational markers that trend towards age. But I think there's certain people that just benefit more from being told, why is this tool important? Why is the change relevant? They just need a little bit more incentive to believe that the tool is worth adapting to, because they've seen enough fail. They're trying to lean on the benefit of their experience, not on the benefit of new and shiny.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to chime in on this age thing here because I got to make a couple of points. Hold on, I got to switch here. So I'm going to talk for the user group members here that actually worked on enterprise standalone systems for 20 odd years. And just let the young people who are used to working in the cloud understand that, you know, we worked on some pretty complex, difficult systems to navigate and rebuild. So I don't think, you know, just because, you know, you're pretty quick at using Power Apps doesn't really mean there's a technical bridge between old and young, right? Because it's much different today. And I got to tell you guys, it's much easier than it was when we were doing it. So, you know, it's almost I don't know, reverse bias here when I hear, you guys aren't that young, so don't get caught up in that. When you get here on this young leadership thing around, you know, explaining to the old folks about technology, I know there's a few of us on here are going to find this quite humorous. Any comments from the young folks?
I do just want to clarify to make sure that I was actually saying that I think a lot of people are quick to saying there is a bias about teaching old people, but I was trying to say that I don't think it's generational based. I think it's too easy to say that young people are more adaptable than old people, and I don't think that's accurate, is what I was trying to say. I think we're actually in agreements, right? I don't think we're on opposite sides of something here.
No. I just gotta, you know, I've got to watch what I say in this day and age, right? You guys have to watch what you say as well,
Right.
because
and
you know,
there are two aspects of it, right? So when I'm saying leadership, you must have seen on my slides, it's more about embracing the new changing leadership. It's not about adapting to more young leaders. Yes, we want to promote them because they come up with unique ideas. They add values with their diverse ideas. So we should be embracing that. But it's more about embracing that leadership, what learnings they bring with them. It's not about, oh, it's a 16-year-old, so he's always got good ideas. He might be good at learning things, but he might not be good at leading it. He might not be good at leading the project. He might not be good at leading or working together with the team. So those are some embracing new ideas is one characteristic of a leader. There are certain other characteristics of how you drive the team, how you drive the project, how you look yourself in the organization, how you handle your stakeholders. There are so many other aspects. So this is focusing on just not like embracing young leaders, it's focusing on embracing the changing leadership paradigm that's happening today. And that is what's coming up as empowering others, being more collaborative, being more emotionally intelligent. That was something that was not happening 15 years ago. Even I remember my first organization when I started working, that was not something I thought of my boss as being asking me about, oh, how's life? How you doing? How are you dealing with, something happening at home over the weekend? Why are you so upset about it? It was more like, did you get it done? No, because I was busy with something else. Well, you better get it done by Friday. That's all you get. And that's not happening in today. Today, like I said, the leaders are embracing that changing dynamics. Oh, yesterday it was happening, and today AI promoted this thing. Yesterday, TikTok was the famous applications. Today, this is getting banned. So things are changing within a day. So that's what I mean by leadership embracing the changing dynamics here.
Okay, thank you. And by the way, I'm sitting in a regional innovation center, or I spend 10% of my time working with the startup community. So, I can, I'm exposed to mostly young people in this environment. And you're right about a lot of things, but I think that one of the key things that I like to see in a young leader is the way they treat, it's a career, not a job.
Yes.
Right? So I've got a career goal, I've got a career path. So if you're working within an organization, what do I need to do to grow to get there? And if I'm in a startup, what do I need to know? Where do I go for more information to be able to grow? And there's a dividing line very quickly between which personality types really start to excel and become, and not just personality types, but which types of work ethics, personalities, and everything else around it really defines who becomes a leader.
Right.
So that makes me think about the implications of the career versus job thing that you talked about. How invested a company is going to be in developing the leadership within somebody when they think, this generation's just gonna, and again, this is getting ageist, but this generation isn't going to stick around. These people aren't going to stick around. They're treating it as a job, not a career. Should we invest in leadership? And I don't know if that's actually a debate that happens or not, but I question if it does, and what the implications for that whole thought process are around, hey, this person may not stick around. How much do we want to invest in their ability to lead, versus a company who's saying, they stick around or not, we want to cultivate a strong leader wherever they land, and we want to invest in them. So I wonder if that has if it influences the way companies are investing in their leaders.
And just on that, Malcolm, I think today that investment is your investment. I don't think we can look to the companies to invest in us anymore, because lack of loyalty. They used to complain there's a lack of loyalty between employees. Well, I think there's a bigger lack of loyalty from employers. To see these software companies that made so much money over the last 3 years have these massive layoffs over the last 12 months kind of shows you, sure, you've got to escalate yourself and you've got to be at the top of your game, but it's up to you. Don't depend on your employer any longer.
Oh, I love this conversation, right? So then that plays into, what we were hearing about was sharing knowledge and sharing information. Well, if it is taking care of oneself, which I totally agree with, I think that's absolutely part of it, then does that lead to a reluctance to share it because I want to hoard the information so that I'm the one who knows the things and can be the person in the room, which I think happens sometimes, who knows the answers, and that then gives me value at the company, which then in turn, by definition of what we heard earlier, means that they're not actually being that good of a leader. So there's so many aspects and tentacles to all of this that are really interesting. I'm a social worker by trade, and so spend a lot of time in sociology and psychology classes. So that part of my brain starts firing when we start talking about this, and it's always been super fascinating to me. Is like, one thing can have implications on all these other areas. So interesting conversation.
Yeah, and I think it really just brings a lot of different perspectives to how you can choose to approach leading within your own team. I don't know if anyone can relate to this experience, but how many of us have had a leader say, if taking a job at another company is what would be best for you and your family, I want you to do it.
Oh, I've had that conversation plenty in my career. They keep telling me that.
that it's that type of encouragement when you look at, like Rick was saying, you know, if the employer isn't going to be the source of the loyalty, but the leader can be. The person on the team, you know, yes, we're invested in our company's bottom lines, we're invested in our company's goals, but we can be as invested in these people. And maybe looking at it as career versus job is, am I looking at their career as a career in tech and not a career at my tech company?
Mm.
Oh, by the way, anybody who wants to jump in, just raise your hand at the top of the banner there, and we'll get to you.
There was a
Anand.
comment in the chat. Some companies are very conservative with new changes. Young or old leaders, there's no matter for company policy. Well, that's in the chat. Interesting.
Anand, you had a question?
Yeah, I mean,
Or comment?
nice discussion here. I liked the topic. So young leaders are more technical savvy and they use productivity tools, for example, Copilot, ChatGPTs. So what are the challenges young leader will face if their team members are experienced, are not technical savvy? So how to fill the gap? Can you just put your feedback on that here?
So that's where the empowerment and the collaboration comes in. So young person might know the technology, but he needs to share that technology and collaborate with his leader who has the experience of how things are going to work to make it work together. And that's where, you know, I say we need to foster that environment within our organization where people can come and state their ideas. So welcome those ideas, but then it needs to be a collaborative approach to what we want to do. It cannot be anymore my leader telling me, no, you have to do it this way, or it cannot be the young person saying, well, I know computers better than you, so I'm going to do it this way. No, they both have to collaborate on telling this is how it's going to help the organization. And this is how we can automate this process rather than spending 20 hours doing the same paper logging of certain data. So that's where collaboration and empowerment comes into place. You empower the person so they can state their points and you collaborate with them so that you can pick the best method that works for your organization.
Okay, that makes sense. So in that case, the experienced ones should incline towards the technology, towards productivity tools to be in line with the young leaders.
Right. And young leaders here is not young in age. Young leader here is young in experience. So put
Young in
that
mindset.
differentiation in your head there,
Okay.
because a person might be working for 40 years, but he never had to lead a team. So he doesn't know how to drive the team to success, right? But he has these, million ideas. Oh, we can do this better, but he has no way of driving that change. So that's where somebody who has the experience of driving the change can be the change agent for this person. And that could be a person who's working for them. Like I have seen in my team where I have promoted somebody because I'm like, you're spending way too much time doing technical, but what you can do better is drive your team to success, because these people need guidance. The other two people are not doing as good as you are, and you're working 16 hours and they're working 8 hours and they're getting things done much faster, but they don't know where to go from here. So that's where somebody, and that's what falls on the experience. The leader who has the experience of recognizing that talent, who sees the other leader, that's where the empowering that leader comes in. How can I empower that? Can I make that person the leader of that group, or can I make that person who can drive the conversation, who can channel that energy into something productive and more efficient?
Okay. Gail?
Thanks. Yeah.
Go ahead, Gail.
Great, thanks. Hi, yeah, that's a really good point. I really like the idea about the collaboration. If you're sharing the goals, then everybody knows, they work together so they can build on each other's ideas and learn, right? And also just the whole culture improvement, right? Having those things available if they need to learn, how do they learn, and just also it's not so isolating too when you're sharing your ideas and being able to help them, especially now, right, with everything so remote. So I like the ideas.
And we've all have worked in companies where, you know, like the comment Mikhail put in chat there, some companies are very conservative and it doesn't matter what you do, it's never going to change it. We've all heard that. You go to a company and they're like, yeah, it's never changing it. It doesn't matter what you do. A month later, it's going to go back to the same old things. We make progress 2 steps ahead and we move 4 steps back. So, but you know, it takes time. And that's where I'm saying the challenges you face is more communication. How many people in the organization can you get the buy-in from? And it doesn't have to be the stakeholders. It can be the team members. It could be the cross-functional team, my finance department, my operations department. If my operations team is telling me, hey, this new system works great, I can just hand scan everything, inventory management makes it so easy. Yeah, they will promote you. They will go to their leaders, their VP of operation. Whatever system Meenakshi is implementing is going to work for us. We've been wanting it for so long, and I can cut the staff in half, or I can use them better somewhere else rather than just sitting and counting inventory. So those are some ideas where you can foster, again, the diversity of thought here from not just younger generation, but from other people who come from experience from other companies to your company. So fostering that environment of challenging status quo is what we're looking for here. And it can come from anybody. So it's the leadership that needs to understand that change is coming, that change is already here, and they need to really embrace it among the young people by age or young people by experience, you know, so get them together.
Right. And it's also good for the culture too, right? They get to know each other. They feel like they're part of something. Yeah.
Interesting discussion. Any other questions or comments?
Come on, bring some more good points. Those are some points I had in my head. I'm sure you guys have many more.
Well, I have another one quickly. Do you think that the definition of a leader varies by organization?
Yes. And it depends on the industry also. Construction industry is going to be very different from a tech industry. Food manufacturing operations floor itself is going to be very different from the sales department. So you will see it within the organization, how the leadership is changing, and you'll see among different companies and the industry types also. So yes, and that's why when I listed those 6, 7 points initially, how leadership is changing. So it's changing in all those aspects, but what applies to you could be a combination of those, could be 1 or 2 of those, depending upon the size and culture of the company. A family-owned business might not care about what you bring to the plate because they're running their business like that.
Right.
You know.
And I think there's also, sorry, I'll raise my hand. I think there's also, you know, I can be a leader within an organization, or I can look outside the organization for leadership, you know, such as, you know, a user community or a club or alumni or something. So I think, you know, it helps to grow as a leader. And if you're in an organization and it takes time, right, to kind of move up and be seen sometimes, but by all means, get outside your organization and become a leader, get on committees. And what's going to happen is your organization is going to see that, oh, look at Malcolm, you know, he's leading a you know, the Canadian user group organization, and that'll help you get noticed, but it'll also give you a lot of planning experience that you normally wouldn't get working in an organization.
That actually brings back when I first started working with the user community. So my first user group was in 2013, and I had no intentions of ever presenting or doing. I was one of those, I'm going to sit back, learn as much as I can, and absorb all the knowledge in me. And this communities director comes to me and is like, well, I'm short one speaker. You are jumping in. You know this topic, you can speak to it. I'm like, no, I've never presented to a group of 20, let alone 40, 50 people. No, I'm not doing it. Like, nope, you're doing it. Come with me. all sit there. And he had no idea about the topic, but he was a great presenter. And till this date, I credit all my presentation skills to him. He would just stand and he can charm that group of people, whether it be 50 or 500. His voice is so commanding and his presence in the room is so commanding. I'm like, wow. And then he set the stage for me. I did the whole presentation. I was a tech guru. I knew everything technical, but I just didn't know how to present it. So I was able to show it. And that was my first presentation. I'm like, oh my God, I did it. And next year I presented 4 sessions. So these community groups do help you grow. And that's what when we do the call for speakers, that's what we always say. Just put your ideas. If you have never presented before, we'll link you up with somebody else who has and who can set the stage for you, and you get that confidence of presenting with them. So I really love user groups for that. And that's one of the reasons I always try to attend the meetings. And when Malcolm reached out, I'm like, I've never presented for the Canadian group, but let's see how it goes. I'll take it. And I did it. I think we're doing good.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I have the similar story for a number of people, but Rick in particular. I mean, Rick pulled me sort of the same scenario. Rick, you were like, you're joining this panel. And I was like, I don't even know how to spell panel. And you were like, doesn't matter. Come on, you're gonna be here. And that was a big, yeah, it was a big step forward. And I realized that, wow, I like to talk a lot. So I'll do this all the time. So,
And you
yeah,
learn that,
I mean,
you can handle the conversation. You can handle the conversation, right?
yeah, absolutely. And then, repeatedly over time, hey, we got another panel. You want to participate in this one? Like, sure, yeah, let's do it. So I agree that. So thank you, Rick, for forcing my hand in that regard.
I'll call you. I got about 12 more things for you to do, Malcolm.
See, that's how you are a leader, Rick. You empowered him.
I
that
empowered him
when
because
you call me,
okay. Yeah, I did. Thank you,
straight to
Malcolm. I'll leave
voicemail.
it at that.
Awesome. Well, this is a good conversation. Any other tidbits or items that people
Vivek
want to talk about?
Patel joined us. Vivek, you lead a lot of groups and user
Yes, he
groups.
does.
You've got to have some comments on this. Oh, he's probably doing something else. Okay. Oh, there he comes.
Yeah, I would say you have to judge between when you say about overall discussion, what you are having on young entrepreneur or young staff. I would say you have to, like, when you are going through technical reviews and all, within first 1 month, you will know not only the knowledge, but there are many times what happens is they have a great technical skill, but not good at taking leadership. Other risk, because I work with a company, a sales director for two companies where one has 700 people, another 600 people. My worry is always what we were discussing before is how much you want to invest in new leadership, because what I notice is the attrition rate for the young people is a lot more than when you have, let's say, above 30 and then 40 when you go. So that also worries me a lot. So when you make a decision, I judge between willingness to work or expertise is not enough. It is how that person is going to stick to the company and how much you want to invest and how much you want to balance between those. So I always, we have some parameters that we judge. We make a decision on selecting young staff to our company in terms of one added parameter. All the parameters you said, yes, we do that. But this was the additional parameters. And it could be because of I have a company which is not Canadian, means my staff is not in Canada. There is a certain part of the world where attrition rate, just because more opportunities available, is more. So we add that one parameters to it. User group side, yes, I meet a lot of young people who are getting into market, most of the time advise on what will work best, what will not work best when you join the company. So those type of advice, we do have a session, and we have advisors also willing to spend their volunteer hours to guide them through their initial journey into the market.
Okay, Vivek, thank you very much. Appreciate your input.
Thank you.
Well, I don't hear any more kind of engaging in, which is fine. But I definitely want to say a huge thank you to Meenakshi for sharing your presentation and all your commentary and responses and fostering our discussion. And I know this was a pivot, as we said at the opening call, a bit of a pivot from our usual focus of the actual tech and everything. But I think this is a very useful and good conversation to have. So I appreciate everybody chiming in and participating, and hopefully you've taken some tidbits away from this, and we will be back next time. Oh, I see somebody chatting, so messaging in the chat, so maybe there's more to say.
Yeah.
Waiting for it.
I'm just gonna say, while we are waiting for them to finish their chat, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and talk with you guys and make some new friends. It's always good to see new user groups and making bonds with them. So hopefully I'll see you at Summit next time or wherever. I'm not going to DynamicsCon, but I'm sure you'll see somebody from my group there.
Fair enough. And as somebody who's on the BC side, hope you're like, hey, those CRM guys aren't that people. CRM people
You're
aren't
not
so
that
bad
bad.
after all,
I've
right?
implemented CRMs. You guys are
I
amazing.
don't know. Sorry, I joined a little bit late, but have we discussed about the conference happening, Dynamic conference? Before
DynamicsCon?
Yep. Yeah. Coming up in May 13th to 16th. Yeah. So Rick had dropped a link in the chat to register. I know that we had called out that the prices are going up here shortly. So if anybody's contemplating whether they should attend or not, now is the time to sign up and get that discounted rate. But I think some of us have access to discount codes if you're interested as well. So.
Okay.
Brianna, I see you're typing, so we'll give you a second. No pressure or anything, but we're all watching the dots bouncing.
Well, you can just come online and talk to us.
I just wanted to say thank you. Your presentation was awesome. And as an aspiring young leader or emerging leader, you could say, I think that creating a supportive environment, I really liked that comment. And it's just where I feel leaders feel more encouraged to learn and grow and help prove themselves, I guess, and prove that maybe they don't have enough experience or they don't feel they have enough experience, but it doesn't mean they don't bring value and it doesn't mean they don't want to learn. And yeah, as long as there's an opportunity, I feel like people can prove themselves. And I guess it's just great to have support and have that safe space, I feel like. But yeah.
And I generally feel people actually thrive in those environments more than in commanding and controlling environments. If I feel safe, like in talking to you guys, even if I make a mistake, I know somebody's going to pick it up and actually elaborate on it. Hey, actually, not this way, that way. So you need to create that environment and people feel safe stating their point of view rather than always, oh my God, I don't know, he always yells at me, I'm not going to talk to him. So you have to have that collaborative and safe space in there. And it's on us. I mean, it starts with just a team member to middle management to higher management. Sometimes it's top down, sometimes it's bottom to top. So you got to flourish in that from both sides. It cannot be like the higher management is, yeah, give us your ideas and then putting them in a trash bin. You have to see it in action.
Exactly. Yeah, that was awesome.
And you're going to find the user community is a great place, I think, to feel safe. There's loads of things to get involved with. So
always. Yeah. And to that point, and Meenakshi, you talked about this earlier, but if anybody here is not comfortable presenting but would like to, or at least even just dabble in it, please do reach out, right? Let us know. We're happy to go splits on a session, or have you, maybe we formulate a panel. And I mentioned Rick pulling me into the panel. That was one of my first forays in speaking in the user group community, was just participating on a panel. So, you know, yes, it was a 45-minute session, but there was 6 of us. So I had like 8 minutes of talking to do at most, right? So that was lowered the barrier significantly, because it wasn't, oh my gosh, I got to deliver a 60-minute presentation on something. It's, I'll be part of this and I'll share some thoughts as they arise for a short period of time. And that was a great way to enter the forum of speaking, because the pressure was way less in that regard. And then you build from there. So if anybody's interested in saying, you know, I want to present on this, but I don't think I have enough conversation topic to build into it or content, reach out, because we can help, or we can find somebody who would be interested in going splits, and then you get to make a new friend and get to know somebody else and network and build from there. So, well, on that note, so there was some requests for the discount codes. Rick put his email in there, so you're welcome to reach out to him to get a hold of that code. I don't know the DynamicsCon one. I'm not even sure it's still valid, but I know MVPs have one. I assume that's the one you're talking about, Rick. So I have one as well if you're interested, but reach out to Rick and he can set you up, and hopefully we see some of you on the ground in Denver. I know we have a couple of other presentations coming up, and you're one of them, right? So Anand reached out and said, hey, I've got a couple of topics I'd love to share. So he's coming up in the future, I think May, we said, right? And
April and 25th.
Was it April? Okay, yeah, we added a second session in April to accommodate. So that one was all about Dynamics. Well, you can speak to it. Why don't you give yourself a little plug on what that session is going to be about?
Yeah, it's about real-time journey and what are the considerations if someone is migrating from outbound to real-time. Yeah, I have one article written on that. Yeah, so.
Excellent. Yeah, looking forward to that, because that's a hot topic, and a lot of organizations are starting to dabble in the customer insights journeys, or formerly marketing space, and seeing a lot of value there, but there's a lot to soak in. So you know, how to make that transition and move is an important topic. So looking forward to that one.
So Malcolm, are we moving our date in April?
No, we added a second one, and there's a LinkedIn, or not a LinkedIn, a Meetup link out there floating around. I think we've had a few registrations already for it. So we've got 2 dates in April. We don't typically do that, but we wanted to squeeze this one in, and we didn't want to put it in the summer because people are busy and vacationing in the summer. So yeah, so we've got a second date. I forget, what did you say, Anand? It was the
25th of April. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. April 25th. So the link is on Meetup. I don't have it in front of me, otherwise I'd share it. But head to Meetup, find our group, and you've got all our dates are there. Yeah. All right. We hope to see you again, guys. Thanks so much for participating.
Thanks, everyone.
Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.